This is a reading update of the books that I've listened to since I last made a video. At the end of August, I finished The Lost Metal, which was the last book of Mistborn Era 2, and it's official. I prefer Mistborn Era 2 to Mistborn Era 1. I just had such a great time, and by the end of Shadows of Self, which was book 2 of Era 2, that's when I officially decided that I preferred Era 2 to Era 1, and it just completely stole my heart. The stakes of the story were lower because it's not the world is ending and we've got to save it, but the themes and the characters were just absolutely incredible. Steris and Wayne are my favourite characters, but with loads of fantasy books at the moment, I'm headbutting up against authors' opinions about forgiveness and redemption, and this book brought those themes up again. And I don't think I have the same views as Brandon Sanderson on this, because he was basically saying that there's nothing to forgive anymore because that person had completely changed, so they were no longer that person. So the person they used to be had committed the crime, and that person no longer existed, and that person had changed so much that they no longer needed forgiveness. And I don't agree with that. And also, this person who was saying this to Wayne, Wax, I mean, the crime wasn't committed against him, it's not his to forgive. People far too easily give their forgiveness to others for crimes that haven't been committed against them. No harm has been done to them, so what right do they have to forgive them for something that wasn't even done to them and has no effect on them personally? So I absolutely loved the books and Mistborn Era 2 in general, but yes, I just seem to keep coming across these fantasy books that, especially by male authors, that are trying to deal with redemption and who can be forgiven. And given that 93% of murders and 99% of rape are committed, those crimes are committed by men, and it's male authors who are trying to say that things can be forgiven and people can be redeemed, it just feels like they have more of a vested interest in making us sympathetic to those characters so that we feel like they should be forgiven and redeemed. But I'm still thinking all these issues through in my head and trying to work out what I think. Then I re-listened to the first 4 books in the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman, and I just loved that, and I'm really excited now for the new book in the series that's coming out. I think it's 25th of September. I love the wit and the tone of the books, and just by the end of it you just get that feeling of coziness and that these characters are like your family and friends. You don't want the books to end because you just want to spend more time with those characters, and Richard Osman has a way of making you fall in love with them and sort of forgetting the things that they've done in the past, which are morally very questionable. My favourite character is still Ibrahim. Then I was in the mood for some more crime, and I started listening to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and it was completely different from what I was expecting. I went in blind, really, and I never watched was it film or TV series? I can't remember, but the only impression that I had was that there was a main character, a girl, who was a hacker, and that's all I thought. So it was very confusing to come in and the main character be this male journalist, and that Lisbeth Salander didn't come in till later, and that she was very different than what I was expecting. From what people say about her as one of the greatest female characters in a book. Lisbeth is obviously very traumatised and has been abused, although we don't know the details of that, and can't really function well in life apart from in her work, and she's very, very good at that in her hacking. And at the end of this book, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, it's obvious that she's in need of help in terms of she's needing to heal and have counselling to get over or begin to heal from whatever she's been through, the story of which I'm guessing will be in the next 2 books in the series. Overall, I found the story satisfying and I did enjoy it, but I also found it uncomfortable and disturbing in places, and sometimes bogged down by unnecessary extraneous details which didn't even make the story richer, weren't even relevant. You really didn't need the whole Vanga family history all the way back to the 12th century, and at the beginning on the yacht, when Mikhail's childhood friend was telling him all these details about the big baddie Venestrom, and going back to really insane amount of detail about all his dealings in Poland. I found that both of those bits could have just been done really quickly with one line or two, and the effect would have been the same. I know that the author was sort of trying to make a point about male violence in general and was giving those statistics at the start of every little part of the book about male violence, but at the same time, the way he was describing female characters was very different to the way he described male characters, and especially with regards to their appearance. So it kind of felt like the author was part of the problem in a way. But yes, let me know if it's worth carrying on with the rest of the series. I did enjoy the crime part and how it all resolved, although I did guess quite a lot in advance. But yes, if you've read the other books in the series, please let me know whether that's worth continuing on with.